Oh yeah.
Okay, it's rubber. Didn't know that.
What did you think it was?
I don't know.
Bone? I mean, it looks like bone.
It's good. I
We got props today.
Rubber.
I decorated the set. I took the liberty of decorating the set.
I should wear this for the whole. Yeah. Hey everybody, we're at the Raritan Library. It's me, Jenny, and
Sylvie. Hello.
and you're watching the Ghosts of Somerville TV. Hi, welcome to Ghosts of Somerville TV.
It must be strange seeing me sitting in this chair because it's certainly not Brian this week. I'm
Brian, you've become much more beautiful.
Well, thank you. Yeah, it's the vitamins. We've got this lovely spring weather here at Studio 7. And I'm really excited to be here in this beautiful place.
Welcome. Welcome to the studio.
Co-host. Heck yeah.
I feel like I should be welcome to the studio. How are you?
Yeah, right. like news anchors.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Haunted libraries. We went to, if you haven't seen it yet, episode 8. We investigated and learned all about the Raritan Library in Raritan. A lot of World War II stories there and paraphernalia and items if you're interested in that type of thing. A lot of World War II and patriotic things, and obviously the Frelinghuysen family. Mm-hmm. And then in episode 9, we went on an adventure.
We did. Yeah, we did.
We went to the old Bernardsville Library and then the new Bernardsville Library, which we realized after driving all around was right behind the old one.
Yeah.
And I looked at her like, we're not going to speak of this. We could have walked right behind it, and literally we drove everywhere looking for it.
Well, I remember reading in the story because I always read before all the episodes, so I know I'm up to date. And all of that story, the story about the woman in white and the soldier, all of that happened within the same area, basically.
Yeah.
It was minutes from, he was caught minutes from the Vealtown Tavern.
Yeah.
Maybe a mile or
less.
Exactly. It was crazy that all of that history happened in such a small amount of space, and that's just insane to me. I love that so much, that all of that happened just right there.
Yeah, but that was an amazing story. That was a true story, and it had all the elements of a horror film, really. I mean, this box, it was almost like Brad Pitt, what's in the box, kind of thing, right? It was almost like the end of that movie. Sorry if I give it away, spoiler alert.
Oh yeah, that's right. I just remembered it.
Right. Yeah, because she saw this box with a body of someone who had been hanged, and it turned out to be a British spy. But she's like, I think I know who that is, and she looked. She banged on that thing and opened it. I mean, that's good movie, if it's not real, but it was real. And we actually found then we decided, you know what? Let's go look for the grave of Captain. I always get it wrong. John Parker. I always call him Taylor. Don't know why. John Parker. And it was a little bit of an adventure in the graveyard.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah. I thought it was so funny. I was looking through the B-roll that I took while I was there, and I'd walked past it 3 times and just didn't realize.
No, we both did. We both did. Yeah. We both did. And then I got this idea. Let's use the map.
Mm-hmm. I wish I'd filmed that part because that was a treasure hunt. Jenny was telling me go 2 stones to the left. It's you're at 5 2.
What name is that? Mary Stewart. Okay, yeah. 2 down, kind of thing. And also it was turned sideways, so I had to say, okay, this is the church, and I have really bad spatial relations like that, but I did have that light bulb go over my head and say, oh, let's use a map.
Yeah, it reminded me of those hunt and find puzzles when you were a little kid.
Yeah,
you're trying to find where exactly something is.
But it was really, I don't know, it made you feel a little bit closer to the story to go to his grave. A lot of places around here, the Continental Army squatted, as I call it. No, it's true. All these old houses, they opened their home up to the, some of them willingly, some of them not, but in this case willingly. So that was good. So anyway, we had 2 episodes. We had a great time. We went down some rabbit holes, as I said last time, especially in Bernardsville. We came across this, the lady in white story is everywhere, but this was a really cool lady in white story.
Yeah, it was from like the Revolutionary War, and like I was just saying to Jenny that I've learned so much about the place that I live just from working on the show.
Long story short, which never means that for me, I went to the current site of the Somerville Library and just took some footage in case we needed it, in case we came across some good ghost stories, which we did not, actually. And as I was reviewing it, I had a surprise. I was alone in the building. First thing in, they let me in alone. And I was in the back just filming the stacks of books. And right on my film came a voice. But that wasn't mine. So let's play it for you, and then we can talk about where we went from there. So I set about to debunk this EVP, which a lot of you watching know what that is. It's electronic voice phenomena. When you get a voice on a recorder or a camera that you don't hear with your own ears. If you do hear it with your ears, it's a disembodied voice, which sounds so creepy. And let me just tell you, it is. And it is probably the most frightening thing I experienced.
So spooky.
I had a whisper in my ear saying, "I see you there." Right in my ear.
Oh my God.
"I see you there." And so, who's going to believe me, right? It was caught on my camera.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was caught on my camera. So I'm like, "I told you I heard that voice." And you can always tell by your reaction too, because you hear someone whispering in your ear. And I turned to my, friend and I said, "What did you say?" I said, "Did you just whisper?"
Yeah.
She's like, "No, what are you talking about?" Kind of thing. And yeah, "I see you there." What a thing to say. That's not creepy.
Yeah, no.
You wouldn't run out of the building. So I thought, here we go. Down another rabbit hole we go. Sylvie.
Yes. Yeah, no, and she was telling me all excited that she had found this EVP, and like, I'm a big believer. Like, I believe everything, hook, line, sinker. I don't question anything. So
she's like, "That's a ghost."
Yeah, like, no, I was like, oh my gosh, like, because it sounded so clear.
It is.
Like, don't get me wrong, I'm not like one of those people who falls for things, but like, something like that, hearing something like that in like my real life, when I grew up like watching stuff like Ghost Adventures, like that's crazy to me. Like,
right, I not like life. It. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I know Ghost Adventures is definitely not real.
Well, the shows are, they have a certain format. They have to entertain people and things like that. So, it's not 8 hours of sitting in the middle of a, broken down asylum and getting nothing.
Yeah.
Which is what really happens. But yeah, I mean, it's often the times when I don't expect it. It's not sometimes when you're saying, "Can you talk to us? What did you do here? What time was dinner?" Whatever we like to ask. It's sometimes when we're packing up our equipment or, and that's why I leave my recorder on as soon as I get out of the car and turn it off when I get back in the car. And same for my cameras. And in this case, it was just some, B-roll just to have in the background in case we found a good ghost story. And I found a good ghost story.
Yeah, that was amazing. And it's such a clear EVP. That's more that's more evidence that like spirits are just as human as we are. If they exist. Do they exist?
No, exactly. Yeah, of course. I say this all the time, and I'll say it forever until I'm a ghost myself. These are people. We forget that. We're like, "Can you move this for me?" Or can you're talking to a human being, who lived like you've lived. And it's just, you need to always keep that in mind. This isn't a trick pony. Yeah. This is a mother, a father, a grandmother, a friend, a neighbor. And as soon as you lose sight of that, you're not going to get the same results.
So I find the process that Jenny goes through to debunk all this stuff fascinating, and I can't be the only one. So Jenny, why don't you tell us some of the things that you did for this EVP to kind of like debunk it and check if it was real, valid? What word would you use?
I don't like to use the word like evidence or proof or things like that, because I just think like what's it proving? It proving that you hear a voice that, coming from someone who wasn't there doesn't mean that's a ghost. Yeah, I don't know. it's a disembodied voice. That's as far as I would go, right? But we have to make sure that it's not somebody. Okay, first, my first feeling was, is it someone outside? Right? Because there's windows and things like that. So is it someone outside? So that was my first project. Can somebody be outside and let me hear them? It's a huge stone building, and turns out, so it's actually on a second floor, just about. Yeah, just about. There's a basement below it, but it's just about the 1.5, right, stories, which I don't think any 6-year-old girl is reading.
Yeah, no.
So, and also nobody walks out there. It's a little yard for the library, but if there's no paths, there's no walking paths near it or anything. So you'd have to purposely go under the window. Yeah, you have to be a little logical about it. And then I thought, well, the children's section is below it. And I thought, I have it. It's the children's section. It's below it. And I went down and I spoke to the librarian. And in the corner where I was, where the voice was, is a room that's closed off to children, housing all of their electronic, I guess, servers or whatever they have back there, equipment. And they said, absolutely under no circumstances are kids allowed back there. So, okay. And I actually told her, I heard a voice upstairs and it was a child. And I thought it might have been from down here. And she said, we hear nothing. We hear nothing from down up there. They hear nothing from down here. It's it's a massive castle kind of thing, building. So then I was like, okay, now it's getting interesting, So I went through my footage again, just making sure I didn't miss somebody upstairs, a teenager who may have had a high voice or something like that. But again, you also have to rely on your experience. And I know that was right next to me. And I can compare it to other voices that I knew were close to me. So I've actually had, like footsteps come up to me and then the voice on top of me. So, you know what that sounds like. You sort of have to go with your experience. It's a really fascinating EVP that says, hey.
Yeah. I just I remember hearing that for the first time and I was like, I cannot believe that is so clear. Because a lot of the times, even on the ghost shows where it's fake, but even on the ghost shows, they'll have it muffled and you have to see the subtitles to see what they're saying.
You think, what is it?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Kind of
but
thing.
It was crystal clear. That was insane.
That's not just you. I often hear them and I think, I don't hear it.
Yeah.
I don't hear that at all. But yeah, it was crystal. That's what we call class A. Yeah. But it's one word. I mean, that's not a big deal. And we actually had someone tell us, get out of my house. Now leave, go to bed. Wow. That's a long sentence. Yeah, kind of thing. Get out. I've been told worse by ghosts. So I've been, yeah.
We can't say those words.
We get some language there. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it wasn't get the F out of my house. It was just get out of my house, leave. Yeah. So it was a short one, but still it was unexpected. And I thought we would just talk about it a little bit because I never thought of the current location as being haunted.
So any of the skeptics out there, you're going to be like, what the heck?
Yeah, I welcome it. No, I absolutely welcome it because I'm absolutely a skeptic. I say that all the time. And just to define that a little better, I don't think a skeptic is a non-believer. I think it's just somebody who's a little bit critical in the way they think. They don't accept it as true right away. They do some research or they try to debunk it, which is what actually my big thing is, even on my team currently.
And I think in the same vein too, I think I call myself a believer, but like I said, it doesn't make me gullible.
Right.
It's just I think I have a hopefulness of the vast world around us. It's kind of I still have that childhood wonder of what is this great world that we're in? And there has to be more than just what is that quote? It's there's more than heaven heaven and earth.
Shakespeare.
Yeah, it's a Hamlet quote, I believe. Yeah.
Yes, it is.
But that's kind of how I feel. It's the world is so much bigger than what
I agree.
We can comprehend as humans.
I agree. And also there has to be a little I'm a scientist, but there has to be some magic in the world. There really has to be things that we don't understand. And I actually I was writing to someone last night and I said, I'm a scientist, but free your mind, man. You gotta have an open mind. So yeah, you're missing out. You're missing out on the magic. I say.
Absolutely.
Anyway, so we at that point realized that we did have to look into the Somerville Library, the current location of the library, a little bit more. But again, let's dive in. So we live in a small town, and this is a huge structure in the middle of town that we drive by every day and take for granted. But it really looks like a castle, and in fact, it is a Gothic revival style castle designed by a pretty famous architect, really award-winning architect, Alexander Jackson Davis. And we also had a famous architect design the former library. Before it got to this building.
Yeah.
He also designed the stock exchange in New York, and the style is just the same. It looks like the stock exchange. It's got those huge windows.
Yeah.
It's got that style. So we get some good architects around here, and that's why the buildings are so beautiful.
Yes.
The building was there in the 1840s in one iteration, and it was owned by Arthur Kamen. Fun fact, Studio 7 is on Kamen Place, named after Arthur Kamen, who was the original owner and occupant of the building that was theirs. But in 1880 is when the architect designed this beautiful structure for David Robert and his family. They lived there for a long time until Mrs. Robert passed away in 1923. And they sold the building to the Elks, the Somerville Lodge of Elks. So it was an Elks building, and Brian, your uncle, often talks about that. I don't know. I think he probably remembers it in 1923. I don't know. He's going to kill me. So, and then the borough of Somerville bought it in 1958, and that's when the library moved in there. So that's the quick background, but one thing we found out that was super interesting is there were 2 fires in that building. Now, I can't tell you how many buildings I investigate where people are psychics or mediums, and I am friends with some of them. They amaze me. They're incredible. We use them on investigations. But some of them just say, there was a fire here. And I'm always like, with the critical thinking, right?
Yeah.
Like, okay, possibly, but there are fires, lots of fires everywhere. We got to narrow that down, right? But here it is, black and white records. And usually they say that and there's no record because there weren't records back then. And it's not that they're not telling the truth and I don't, whatever. It could happen, but we have no record of it. And that eats at me. Like, was it a fire or, I don't know, did somebody get burned? You never know when it's an interpretation instead of something you find at the Historical Society like this. So we actually have documentation that there were 2 fires, 1967 and 1980. So I was 12 in 1980. So I wasn't living here, but I just thought I'd point that out because she probably wasn't even born. And
yeah, no, I was not even, I don't even think I was.
You weren't even thought of. Yeah, exactly. So after the fires, it actually required extensive renovations.
Wow.
Yeah, which that must have been a lot of money because it's a stunning, huge structure.
And renovations, they always stir up the spiritual activity.
Exactly
too, right?
what I was thinking. So there's so many reasons now. So this is a whole new beginning. So many reasons now that we need to find out who is this voice. And now we've got to go back and try and get that voice again, kind of thing, and ask some more questions. But just that single EVP started this whole, maybe we went too fast and ignored the Somerville current library when we shouldn't have. So now we have a homework assignment. Now we have to, one thing leads to another, right? Like when you start looking into historical buildings and the amazing history around here, we found that one thing leads to another, and it really becomes kind of a treasure hunt. So yeah, once we heard that voice, we were like, okay, now we need to know everything about the building, which we didn't think we needed to know. And we also need to go talk to the librarian, to the Historical Society, to see how many children live there, because it does sound like a child to me. And it does sound like someone, just from my experience. I wear a body camera and I carry a recorder and I hold cameras, and that voice definitely was right next to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. It wasn't from, I did my proper debunking, but immediately, just from experience, I said, that's right next to me. It's right on top of my recorder. It's been a crazy week. We've had an eclipse, earthquakes, 2 earthquakes, and floods, like biblical floods. So I actually read an article yesterday about how paranormal activity will increase during this time of the eclipse. So it's something to think about maybe for another episode, like how the earth can affect it.
Yeah, so the eclipse is also like a very like big time for like the modern witches. So like I dabble a little bit. So I did some crystals and stuff. I laid them out under the eclipse yesterday and let them charge up. And that was really cool. Yeah, we had like a little eclipse party and everything.
Very nice. I was gonna say the best part about it is the community. I mean, you had people like it was Woodstock.
Yeah.
You know, like they were at a concert, right? Watching the eclipse. And the thing I heard the most was I cried. It's emotional.
Yeah.
You know, it's overwhelming. So I thought we got clouds here. But I honestly thought some of our pictures in the clouds were just as pretty because of the gray clouds around it and the darkness.
Yeah.
I just thought it was kind of spooky, but you know, everything is spooky to me.
I might insert this picture here, even though this is from Texas. My friend took a really beautiful picture of like the clouds with the gray.
Right.
And like somebody said,
And
it
it's
looked like the
showing
Cheshire
through.
Cat. Like
Right, exactly.
Like
I
with the
thought,
smile
you know, I
coming
thought,
through.
okay, it's amazing the pictures they took with the full eclipse, but I almost like the ones better that had it just kind of showing through.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. I'm being very fussy to the universe right now.
My whole group chat yesterday was like blowing up because everybody was posting pictures of the eclipse
Yes,
and
of
talking
course.
about it.
I must have seen 100. Yeah, for sure. So no, I thought the sense of community was really cool about it. And, you know, not just witches, but nerds.
Yeah.
Like,
It's an amazing cosmic event.
not that I know anything about that, but nerds. Nerds.
What do you mean?
Yeah,
You are a nerd.
I am a nerd. So yeah, I said, you know, if you're into this eclipse thing, and people were like, it's no big deal. I'm like, you are not my people.
Yeah, no.
You are not my people. I listened to a 2-hour podcast from an astronomer from Arizona the night before because I wanted to know everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
I stayed up till like 1 a.m. because it's Arizona, right? Like I'm listening because so I learned a lot. So
It's good.
anyway, yeah. So we had some crazy stuff, and we had rain for like a week that was torrential.
Mm-hmm.
So
like, lots of flooding
I think the
everywhere.
rats were coming out at this point.
Oh, goodness.
It was that bad. So yeah, that's where we were.
Oh, what a nightmare.
Yeah. So we'll see you next week for episode 11. Lucky 11. I don't know. I say that with every number, but lucky 11, that's a lucky number for some. We're going to see you next week for 11, which is going to focus on the haunts of Rutgers University, founded as Queen's College in 1766. And I know that because I went there. I'm a proud alumna of Rutgers University. And we're going to focus on lots of different ghost stories that revolve around the campus in New Brunswick, including one that involves Alexander Hamilton and a lover looking for him after his death.
I almost started singing the song from Hamilton.
Go for it.
Alexander
Oh,
Hamilton.
we don't have time anymore. I'm sorry. We're time to cut. Anyway, thanks for watching. Most conversations I have with people are, I have a strange question for you.